And welcome back to the Canadian Real Estate Homefront Podcast. Today we're just going to get right into things. We're going to talk about rent in Canada, why it's so, abnormally high. Are we building enough units? And basically this new report by rental.ca and what it's showing. So rental.ca came out with this new report. It was really eye-opening. It's been eye-opening month over month, basically since the beginning of COVID. So average asking rents in Canada increased 1.8% monthly and 9.6% annually. They've reached a record high across the country of $2,117 in August. So asking rents are up by more than $100 over the past 3 months. So, we're just kind of sitting here thinking, well, we're just not building enough. There's not enough going on. But really it's this idea and this concept of, too many people chasing too few goods that are bidding up the price. And in this case, the goods are going to be rental supply. And what happens in an economy where interest rates have gone up so fast, right? It's been the fastest hiking cycle in Canadian history. What happens is that puts pressure on the rental market, basically because with interest rates so high, money isn't as cheap. So people go out there and rent. You can't qualify for the mortgage. Prices haven't come down enough where people are jumping back into the market. So a lot of people are renting. And then you have this other storm of people coming in. You have immigration at an all-time high. You have students coming in, these international students coming in at an all-time high. And I always have to preface this, I do support immigration, but the problem is that you just can't keep up with the immigration that we're seeing. And Ben Rabideau had a chart, and I'll post it here. Basically what he said is, the feds are dropping the HST on new rental construction. And that's a new thing that the Liberals announced, is that they're going to drop the HST, which hopefully brings down construction costs for developers to build. So, this is what seems to be a good thing. And he goes on to say, there really isn't a shortage of new construction. There's a shortage relative to massive growth in non-permanent residents. That cohort has grown by 730,000 in the past year. We will never build enough for the level of rental demand. So basically what we're saying is that we actually are building a lot of purpose-built rentals, right? We are doing enough to kind of flood the market with inventory, but the issue is that we're allowing too many people in, so therefore we're not building enough. And basically what we've seen the most amount of purpose-built rentals come to market since the 1970s. So we're seeing people build. We're seeing the rentals actually come to fruition, but we just can't keep up with the population growth. Especially when you look at places like Toronto. I was chatting with a guy this morning, and he was telling me about his process of getting in the rental market, and he is in the rental market now. But basically, what happened to him was he had to offer 8 months up front and over asking. Like, that's just not sustainable for a lot of people. To offer 8 months up front, you get $20,000-$30,000 just to get into the market. So again, you have all these people kind of running towards these small condos, right? These 500 square foot condos, and bidding up the price because there's nothing else they can do if that's where they want to live. And, it's not just Toronto and Vancouver that have seen this. I'll get into this a little bit more, but what we're seeing too is Alberta is really leading the way. Alberta is still on top for rent growth in Canada. For the 4th consecutive month, Alberta was the provincial leader for annual rent growth for purpose-built and condominium apartments, with the average rents up 15.6% year over year. And then Quebec had the second highest annual rent growth in Canada of 14.2%, with average asking rents for purpose-built and condos reaching $1,932. So, when you're looking at these markets, you're saying, well, they are still below average, so they still are affordable in a sense. But, having that kind of growth is not sustainable. And what we did see too, which I found interesting, was the most expensive markets in Canada, Canada's largest cities, Toronto and Vancouver, posted below average annual rent increases of 8.7% and 7.3% respectively. Toronto's average monthly cost was $28.98 and Vancouver's was $33.16. So a lot higher than Alberta and Quebec. But when you look at the data, it's actually slowing down, and it almost has to slow down because you just can't keep up with incomes. Incomes can't keep up with these rapid increases in rent. And then you also have the people who are just saying, I can't do this anymore. I need to go somewhere else. I need to go and I need to go to another province to live because I just can't afford the roof over my head. And we're kind of getting into this push and pull effect now too, because you have the investor class who now are almost being forced to sell a lot of their units, right? Because of usually investors take the variable rate because it allows them to be more liquid if they need to, and the penalties are less. But with the variable rate going up so much, and them not being able to pass that expense on to their tenants, they're forced to sell. And I've had this happen too, with a few clients where they're like, I just need to get rid of this because I'm so negative every month. It's causing me so much stress and anxiety. So now you're having more rental units come off the market, and then you have these renters who were paying, a fixed amount. Now they have to go back into a market that could be up 15% year over year, or even 10% year over year. It adds up to a lot of money for these people, and they're competing as well. And it really, really can put a lot of stress on the market, where you see some of these situations where people are like, I'm not leaving. And then they have to go to the tenant landlord board, which takes months and months of agony just to figure it out and try and get someone out if that's the case. So yeah, you have this crazy storm of, we are building a lot, but we're letting in so many immigrants and so many foreign students. Again, I have to always preface this. I support immigration. There just needs to be a better plan for it. We need more units to come to market if that's the case, or we need to slow down on immigration and allow these units to kind of catch up so the market becomes more balanced, right? Because spending $2,000 a month, you're expensing on housing is well exceeding that 30 to 40% that CMHC recommends, especially when you look at Toronto and Vancouver. Toronto being just under $3,000 a month, and then Vancouver being $33.16 a month. That puts a lot of stress and strain on people's wallets, and it doesn't allow them to do other things that can help an economy grow, like go out for dinner, to invest, to do all these things, go buy clothing and go support local businesses. It really puts all this money going towards housing. And yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of this as well, with the investor class being forced to sell. People who bought 3-4 units, they bought one unit, say they bought it 10 years ago, they've refinanced it, they bought another one, they refinanced that one again, and they bought another one, and now they have this cycle of refinancing the debt, but the interest rates have gone up. Or even if they were smart and they took a fixed rate, now they're coming up on renewal and the numbers just aren't penciling. They're not making sense anymore. So they're going to be forced to sell. And, I've heard of conversations, and I've actually talked to clients where the tenant said, hey, I will pay you more than the annual increase that the government allows just so I can stay here, because I do not want to go back out into that rental market. It's so competitive and prices have gone on so much. I'll pay you an extra $200, $300, even $500 a month. And sometimes it doesn't even pencil. Like sometimes it's still, even if you want to pay that extra $500 a month, which is crazy, but people are offering it, they won't do it. And then you do have also in Ontario, if the unit was built after November of 2018, you can raise the price however much you want. Basically, there was a story in the news where these two girls were paying about $3,000 a month, and now their landlord wants $7,000. Those are the rough numbers. I can't remember off the top of my head, but those girls are forced to move. They can't pay that increase. But that's what happens when a unit was built. I believe it was November 2018 in Ontario. You can raise the rent however much you want. So, that's an example of a greedy landlord. Probably someone just wants them out so they can put it back on the market and get a little bit more to cover their cost. But yeah, I think the rental market right now it's a mess. Even in areas that aren't big cities. Oakville, for example, rents are up 23.1% annually, over $3,000 a month. Oakville is considered a town, but it does have over 200,000 people. It's not a ton to do there. It's a safe community for sure. It has its perks, but you're close to the city if you need to. But just seeing this town have rents of over $3,000 per month is a lot for a young community to kind of grow and to have children go to school there. It puts a lot of strain on millennials trying to do anything. And then it also puts strain on older people who are like, hey, I want to sell the house. I want to sell, but where am I going to go? The delta's not making sense. Even if I want to go rent something, I'm still paying $3,000 per month. Like that's a lot of money for a downgrade in a sense. To go from a 2-story, 4-bedroom home down to a 2-bed, 2-bath condo. It's just not making sense for a lot of people. So they end up just staying put and not doing anything. Anyways, I thought this was an eye-opening report. I think it's eye-opening for a lot of people. You can see the Liberals really changing their tone, talking about capping international students, talking about incentivizing local municipalities to build more density, and also getting rid of the GST on purpose-built rentals. So we'll definitely see where this all goes. I'll keep you guys updated as much as I can. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you are a supporter of us, please like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube and if you're on Spotify or Apple Music, please leave us a review. It definitely helps. And if you want to work with Brooke or myself in the Hamilton, Oakville, and Burlington, or the surrounding areas, just reach out to us. Our contact details will be down below. You can book a call with us, and we'd love to help you. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and take good care. Bye.